as much as this is a Parsha class, we actually don't continue in the book of Leviticus this coming Shabbat because it is the holiday of Passover. So we're going to take a break from the line that we're talking about in the Torah in Leviticus, and we're going to speak about Passover. So the last two Torah portions were Tazria and Mitzorah, and we read a lot about a physical manifestation of a spiritual malaise when the people were acting in a way, specifically using their language in a slanderous way or using language in a gossiping, negative, destructive way. Then they would be smitten with this physical ailment that would manifest on their bodies, on their garments, on their houses as a sign to repair their language. And this now is such a sequitur for Passover. So Pesach, another way of translating Pesach is it's the mouth that speaks. Kabbalistically, we understand that when the Jews, the Jewish people who were emerging as a new nation, coming out from Egypt, God is going to redeem the Jewish people like pulling out one nation from within another, like pulling out a fetus that's inside the womb of its mother, pulling out that fetus, pulling out the Jewish people. That what we lost when we were in Egypt was we lost the capacity to speak. Speech was in exile. We didn't speak. It was a silence. There was no thinking. We were so oppressed. There was so much work to do that we couldn't think beyond our servitude. And then God comes through Moses, through Aaron, through the shliach, the messengers that God sends to bring out. And we read about the 10 plagues, we read about the splitting of the sea, all of that we're going to talk about on Pesach night. But the point that I want to bring out is that when we were slaves in Egypt, we had no speech. And when we came out, we started to have a redemption, not just physical redemption of the Jewish people physically coming out from Egypt as a nation, but that we also reclaimed our capacity to speak. And one of the things we understand on the Seder night is that it's a time to speak. We have a Haggadah, and we are told the more you talk about it, the better it is. Speak. Use your language to speak about what happened, not just in the past, but what's happening now. So again, Jewish time is not only linear. We have a linear time. There was a history, there was a past, now there's a present, then there's going to be a future. But Jewish time is also circular, spiral. So every year when we come back to Passover night, we tap into the energy of redemption that is the most manifest at any time of year. On that night, on the night of the Seder night, the night the Jews came out from Egypt, that night is the night where there's the most redemptive energy. And it's a time for us to redeem not just ourselves physically from any servitude or oppression or something that's holding us back, and we can talk about that, but also to redeem our speech. So we learned about the Mitzorah, the person who used their language inappropriately. And now we have an opportunity to use our language well, to use our language to speak about transcendent ideas. On the Seder night, we're going to speak about miracles. We're going to speak about the plagues, and we're going to speak about the splitting of the sea and all the things that happened. And also, we're going to recognize that our mere existence is a miracle, that the whole of creation is a miracle. The fact that we're alive, that we have a spiritual soul inside of a physical body, that's miraculous. The world we live in is miraculous. The world that is governed by the laws of nature is in itself a miracle. So if we can see God behind the veil of nature, we can see God when the miracles happen, but we can also see God behind the veil of nature. That's part of the work of Seder night, is to speak about our relationship as an individual and as a people with God. God brought us out, like I mentioned, as like one nation from within another, to have a relationship with the Jewish people. Let's talk about that on Pesach. Let's take our thoughts and let's speak about them and put them into action. That's the trajectory of how we exist in the world. We have a thought, and if we speak it out, we create some reality that we can then act on. So the Seder night is a night of storytelling. It's a night of language. It's a night of questioning. We question. It's all, why is this night different from all other nights? A lot of our Haggadah is set up in a question-answer form. We don't know everything. We're on a journey. We're learning. We're seeking knowledge. what's this? What's that? I don't understand. And yes, it's for the children, but it's also for us. Like, I don't understand. How can there be this? How can the Jewish people have been in Egypt? What does it mean to be free? What does it mean that I'm in relationship to God? How does God work in the world? How can it be that there's all this suffering in the world, etc., etc.? These are the transcendent spiritual questioning that we can do on Seder night. And the more that we talk about it, the more real it becomes. If we don't only think it, or we don't think it at all, and we never talk about it, it doesn't become real. So there's something very important about using our language to create reality. We mentioned before that the Metzora, the person who speaks slanderously of another, uses his language to destroy others. And so too, we can use our language, as did God, to create a reality, to create a relationship to God, to have a spiritual understanding of transcendent ideas and make them real. So what we're working on is having a relationship with God on the Seder night. We're talking about who we are as a Jewish people, what our history is, but what it means for us today. What does it mean when we're held back, where we don't have freedom to be in relationship to God, to understand God, to talk about God, as the Jewish people when they were in Egypt were unable to speak. So they were exiled, not just physically, but spiritually and in their thinking and in their speech. And so to make up for that, the Seder night is a night of speaking. It's a night of Pesach, the mouth that speaks. And we sing and we rejoice and we pray and we praise and we thank and we bless. We do all of these things on the Seder night with our speech. We talk about who we are as a nation. We talk about who we are as a people. We talk about our relationship to God. We talk about the miracles and that everything's a miracle. And all of that creates a reality. And it says in our sources that the more that we tell, the more light is revealed. The more we speak about it, the more we create a reality. When we pray, we're taught to not just think the prayers, we're taught to speak the prayers. Because in speaking, we hear it, we create it, it becomes real. If I speak to another person, I just think to another person, I'm not creating a relationship. I'm not understanding things. And these questions and answers of the Seder are a way that we have at our disposal to understand who we are in the world. And we teach it to ourselves, we teach it to our children, we teach it to other people. And if we can't talk it about the Seder night, talking about during the 8 days of Passover. And we have all these signs and symbols. We have the maror and we have the matzah and the bitter herbs, and we have all these different things, these physical things that represent spiritual transcendent ideas. And we're enjoined to talk about them. We eat the Paschal offering that we did on that night when we left Egypt. That Paschal offering had to be shared with other people. Our Seders should be shared with other people. We should be sharing our lives with other people. Yes, we were oppressed. Yes, we were in the darkness, but we were brought into the light. And we were brought out with other people, with other families. We came out as a people. And these are the messages, some of the messages of Passover. And so my blessing for all of us is that we redeem the speech that we lost when we were in exile in Egypt, whatever that means in the past and whatever it means for us today. Are we shackled? Are we in a constrained place now? Can we come out from that constrained and shackled place and speak of transcendent higher ideas and thoughts and who we are in the world and why we're here and where we came from and where we're going and who we belong to and how God manifests in the world and how we connect to God in the world and what it means for us as Jewish people and why we are in this relationship to God as we were brought out from Egypt. What does that mean for us moving forward? So we're going to take our thinking, we're going to take the Seder, we're going to speak it out, and we're going to turn it into actions. And I see it all around. You see the terrible images and what's going on in Ukraine and how we're helping and we're sending money and we're sending resources and we're bringing people into our communities and we're bringing people into our homes. And we're living the Passover story. And it says on the Passover night that it's a night we can pass over. We can reach up into the higher realms and we can achieve something higher than we can any other time of year. So I'm not quite sure what that means, but I hope that whatever it means, that we leap over some of the things that hold us back and that we are able to express ourselves in the freest possible way in the holiest possible way, in the most constructive possible way, so that we shine more light out into the world and that we use our speech to create and not to destroy. We spent the last 2 weeks talking about destructive speech, and now we have 8 days to use our speech to sing, to praise, to rejoice, to bless, to chant, to thank, to question, to meditate, to story tell, to tell our story. And I wish us all a very happy and a healthy and a kosher Passover.